I invited Jolleen Dick from Hupacasah, and she's going to talk about gold maple syrup today. I know Jolene's been busy doing other things, but I thought that this would be an ideal subject to talk about because it's a fairly new venture that they're involved in, and I know many of you want to hear about their new ventures and ideas about maple syrup. Just a little bit about Jolleen. Jolene's energetic personality fuels her efforts towards influencing positive change in the Hupacasah community and the Alberni Valley as a whole. As founder of the Sunset Market, a local night market, she founded a volunteer opportunity with Art Rave. From one volunteer organization to another, she expanded her network and became very engaged with the young professionals of Alberni Valley. Jolleen served 2 terms as president of the YPAV, facilitating community initiatives, fundraising events, encouraging volunteerism, and growing membership. During the day, Jolleen works as a full-time communications coordinator for Hupacasah, as well as having the honor of being an elected councillor. With her hands on many initiatives and community development projects. So with that, I invite Jolleen to come and speak.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think I've met most of you previously. So I'm here today to talk about Clecoot Gold as the communications coordinator for the nation. Clecoot Gold was an idea that formed about 1.5 years ago from one of our employees, Jason Lyon. He's our agricultural manager. Jason came to us to work on our community garden, which is just located off of Beaver Creek Road across from the co-op there. And one day he was out riding with our chief counselor and a few others on Clecoot Reserve, and he noticed an abundance of maples and suggested that we perhaps look into making maple syrup on those. So 1.5 years later, we have a sugar shack that is fitted out with commercial grade equipment. So we're the only commercial maple syrup producer in Western Canada, in BC. Our maple syrup is different than syrup that is found on the East Coast. They have a sugar leaf maple and we have a big leaf maple. And our syrup has different characteristics in nutritional value than out east. And the quantity of sap that you need to collect from big leaf maples is different than the sugar leaf in Eastern Canada. For that difference, it takes 30 to 40 liters of sap to make 1 liter of maple syrup with the sugar leaf. With our big leaf, it actually takes 60 to 80 liters to make 1 liter of maple syrup from our trees. So, Clecoots actually is a location, so we've decided to call it Clecoot Gold. It sounds nice, it rings true to where the maple syrup is coming from. And my uncle, Ron Hamilton, has suggested that we also call it Clecoot Kuna. Kuna means gold in New Toronto, in Hupacasah dialect. So our sugar shack, our trees are harvested on Clecoot Reserve just by Bigmore Road. So as you're heading west out of town, before you get to the airport road, our reserve is just off to the right-hand side. My apologies for not being able to bring photos and video. I didn't have time to collect and make it into a presentation, but you can use your imagination. So on Clecoot Reserve, we tapped 600 trees this year. The year before, we tapped maybe 100 or 200 for our trial run. And so for our trial run, we were collecting sap the old-fashioned way, going to tree to tree to tree with all the jugs, putting them in a thing, and then taking it to more of a wood stove hobby reduction thing. So When we did have samples last year, our samples tasted kind of smoky. If it happened to be a bad weather day, the smoke would get into the syrup. This year the syrup tastes different because it's not a wood stove. We use natural gas in the sugar shack, and the sap actually goes through reverse osmosis before it gets into the burner and boiler. So it's all commercial, so you don't get that craft, I guess, homey taste as we did previously when we hand collected things. This year we tapped 600 trees, and we have a vacuum system attached to the trees for sap collection, and all the trees are hooked up to a central line at a certain grade so the sap flows. So we're not going to all 600 trees every day. You just go to the station, turn on the pump, and the sap is getting pumped from the trees into the collection point, and then trucked from our reserve at Clecoot to Oswinnis Reserve, which is in the Beaver Creek area, and sent into the sugar shack. So we launched a website and an order form just before Christmas or after Christmas. The media found us and found out about what we were doing, so we had to get busy really quickly and make Facebook pages and all that kind of stuff, and an order form. So right now we're just going through our order forms. We think we're sold out, but we just need to confirm orders that people have placed throughout Canada and locally, try and fill those and confirm like quantities and if they're how we're going to handle shipping, because we have our story being shared all across Canada lately. CTV Canada picked it up as well and ran a story, and so every time it's on the news we get more orders, but we just need to follow up and confirm that they want to pursue those, because we fell behind on having a final product ready in the past few months. The sap was collected, it was boiled down and everything, but we were waiting for our custom designed glassware to arrive from China, and that took months. So we just had our syrup preserved in mason jars until we could bottle our syrup, and we just finished bottling our syrup last week, actually. So our bottles are super cool. They're kind of in an ice wine.
Can I pass this around or just Google it?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's cool. Then you can describe and we can look.
Yeah, so the those are our bottles. They're custom made, and they're in an ice wine type vessel, and we have our logo of Hupacasah embossed on the in the glass itself. So they're one of a kind bottles. They're being sold in quantities of 200 milliliters or 50 milliliters, and we have some wholesalers, commercial wholesalers that want to sell our product. We're just going to go with one for now, and we haven't chosen who's going to be the person that gets the chance to sell them. I know Butchart Gardens was a location, or a place in the Cowichan region, but we are trying to fill our individual sales first this year. So that was our first year, and we've made over 1,000 bottles this first time. Yeah.
So Jolleen, I have a question.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the answer is no, but I'm going to ask it anyway. We have, you heard we have our Rotarian people from Thailand, visitors from Thailand coming, and some of them are going to be staying at my house, and I was trying to find a present for them, so there's no bottles left that I can buy?
We will take your name, but we can't promise we could fill the order. So they're just, because it is food and it needs to go through the Canada Health inspections, we have all the bottles have been sterilized and done, but we need to attach our tags on the 50 milliliters that has the nutritional information and whatnot. So we're just finally finishing the packaging on the mini bottles. So after that, we'll know how many we'll have after we fill all the orders that we've taken.
I think that would be just an amazing thing, and to be able to get very close to it.
Yeah, it's been an overwhelming like demand for maple syrups now. I know that people want to order boxes and boxes, and everyone wants to carry it. So it's just trying to navigate the sales and making sure we're organized still.
Another question. The process sounds really neat. Are you thinking about, or have you started any tours or anything through the facility for people to see?
Not really. There's not much to see in the summer, spring season. They could see it, but it would just be, this is our equipment. But that is something we've thought about, as we are wanting to seriously consider Aboriginal tourism. And so winery tours and brewery tours are quite popular, and I think we'd have something really special to offer as a maple syrup tour. Yeah.
Question, maple tree, does the sap run 12 months out of a year, or?
No.
No?
Our season begins a little earlier. And so no, it doesn't run all year. It's a short time period. So ours starts December till March. That's when the sap is running. And I think in Quebec, the time frame is even narrower. I think it's just 1 month, and that's all they have to.
So one tree, how much would it produce in that?
I'm not too sure how much one tree produces. They're all different. So this started out as Jason, our agricultural manager's research project for his studies at school at UBC. And so he would have better like raw data from that. The first year we barcoded all our trees, and he would measure how much sap would be coming from the trees, where that tree was, the elevation to the tree, if it was a single tree or if it was a cluster. But I don't know how much a tree produces in a day. But we have a flatbed truck, and I can't remember the measurement of like the vessel on the back that holds gallons of syrup, but I just know that they would fill that up halfway in the morning, and then they'd go back and fill it up again in the evening, in the afternoon draw. So the sap's running, especially if we have this vacuum, we're able to get out more. But as soon as the trees bud, it changes the flavor, and it's not a desirable taste. So that's when you have to stop harvesting the sap.
Any plans to like plant more trees or access trees maybe on private property, or anything like that?
Yeah, so what we think this initiative is unique and sustainable is because maple trees have been seen as a weed in the forestry industry. It's the first to go, and you want to plant a tree that has a little more value. So we've in our own woodlot we have blocked off maple trees that were set to be cleared, but now they're there for maple syrup production. Other forestry companies have loved the idea and have offered up space, but I don't think any MOUs have been signed yet. We tapped 600 trees this year, and we have submitted a grant to expand. We want to go to at least 1,000 trees next year, 1,000 to 2,000. And our manager has informed me that the capacity of our current sugar shack with the equipment we have, because we only have one tank and one reverse osmosis and one boiler, that our capacity would be about 2,000 to 3,000 trees for the production that we're going at. So yeah, we plan to expand and keep going.
Do you know the retail price? Or I know you're selling to wholesalers as well, but you also have individuals?
We are just selling the bottles at $6.95 for the 200 milliliter, no, 50 milliliter, and then $22.95 for the 200 milliliter.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not too sure what we're offering to wholesalers at this time, what kind of discount it is.
And so that similar size, like the ice wine bottle, I think we have something from back east. It's at Costco, but yeah, it's a nice bottle of maple syrup is like a price of a nice bottle of wine, really, these days. So
We've compared
Yeah,
our pricing.
that
It's
seems-
very competitive or similar or just a little bit more. So by the end of this year, we're able to know like how many man hours and labor it is to harvest. We have 3 men on shift at all times to go out to the forest to harvest, and 1 is behind watching the boiler. And the reason for that is we don't want someone to be out in the cold without cell service and get stuck out there. So the buddy system out on the reserve, and then 1 has to make sure that the boiler doesn't do anything harmful.